You know, we are at a place where it's okay to question or even criticize the president of the United States. Doesn't mean you're not MAGA. Doesn't mean you're not pro-Trump. It doesn't mean you don't appreciate his policies. Marjorie Taylor Greene is experiencing the wrath of a lot on MAGA because she dares question some of the things that are being put forth. And you know what? I think we got to take a breath here and recognize it's okay for all of us to talk to one another, with one another, and try to figure out what's going on. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. I don't think Trump minds, even what he said about Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday. He was actually pretty diplomatic in his response. You know, President Trump can go scorched earth on somebody if he wants to. He didn't go scorched earth on her. Here's what he said.
I don't know what happened to Marjorie. She's a nice woman, but I don't know what happened. She's lost her way, I think. But I have to view the presidency as a worldwide situation, not locally. I mean, we could have a world that's on fire where wars come to our shores very easily if you had a bad president. We had a horrible president, and we ended up with Russia-Ukraine, and we ended up with other disasters, too. Don't forget, I put out 8 wars, 9 to come. I think I'll get the other one taken care of, but I put out 8 wars. And look at the damage that Russia-Ukraine has done to us as a country. I mean, we spent $350 billion. We're not spending any money anymore. Now they pay us through NATO. You know, I got NATO to go from 2% to 5%. Well, that's very important. When you're president, you really sort of have to watch over the world because you're going to be dragged into it otherwise. You're going to be dragged into a world war. I think if I weren't president, first of all, that war would have never happened if I was president. And if I weren't president, that war could have led to World War III. It won't. It's not going to anymore. But when I first got in, I said, wow, this situation could lead to World War III. And I got NATO together. I got everybody together. But with all of that, I passed a great, big, beautiful bill, which is the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. So when somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's now catering to the other side, I don't know what, I guess she's, got some kind of an act going, but I'm surprised at her. But when somebody like Marjorie goes over and starts making statements like that, it shows she doesn't know.
Marjorie Taylor Greene's point is America first means America first. And that message, I think, lands with a lot of people. But on the other hand, I would argue President Trump's position is correct. America first, but not America only. We can do more than one thing. We can focus on domestic issues, but we also have to make sure we got our eyes wide open regarding China, North Korea, all of our adversaries. So it's an interesting time. But how about that headline? Liberals are angry and horrified that SNAP benefits are being restored. Don't you agree with me that the pain and the cruelty and the misery and the power, the control, that's all the Democrats are worried about? And they truly don't care about the American people? Or am I overstating it? Let's see what you think. I'm going to put your voice front and center. So I shouldn't have been excited about pushing back yesterday. At 1:35, I thought, we're going to get out of here. I'm going to get home. Start pulling out onto the tarmac, start going out onto the runway. I saw the longest line of planes I've ever seen in my life in the history of aviation. And the pilot comes on the PA and says, well, okay, this is going to be because of the government shutdown and there's staffing shortages and yada, yada. We are number 28 for takeoff. 28 for takeoff? We're number 28. I'm going to be here till midnight. 27 planes ahead of us, and they were. There were 27 planes ahead. It took like an hour and a half to even get to the point where we could take off. So, hey, thanks, Schumer. Thanks, Shutdown. Thanks, Democrats. Here's Scott Jennings last night on CNN pointing out how Democrat after Democrat pretended that they didn't like to prolong the suffering with the government shutdown.
Democrats are willing to make people suffer. And you heard Democrat after Democrat today say, well, we just couldn't prolong the suffering. So they admit that their political tactics were designed to inflict suffering on the American people. We also learned about cynical politics in this.
He went on to point out that there is one easy to understand reason why the shutdown ended, because the election came and went.
So they wanted a fight, but they found a fight that was worth fighting with talking about the Affordable Health Care Act. People were with them. Democrats were leading in the polls. We won big on Tuesday.
That's what it was for, right? It was for the election, right?
Well, I think we should have kept going. What I don't understand, and which I would love others to help me out and understand, I don't understand why we caved so soon when the American people seemed to be on our side.
Because the election ended. You just said it. It was for the election.
Listen,
the election ended, then you caved.
He was trying to answer, but as usual, Scott gets talked over by the loudmouth panelists who don't want to hear what he had to say. But he was right. The election ended. The election came and went. So there you go. Do Democrats hate the country this much that they really want to make people suffer? I thought, the left likes to say it's us Republicans who want people to hurt. It's just the opposite. As usual, the opposite is true. Democrats are angry and horrified that the SNAP benefits are being restored, that people are going to get their paychecks again, that the airports are going to start, running on time. And that's horrifying. And I don't want to believe that. And I also would stipulate not all Democrats feel this way. Not all Democrats are on board with the loony left wing of the Democrat Party, but the loony left wing is becoming more and more prevalent every day. Just ask anyone who's about to suffer through the reign of an Islamist mayor named Zohran. Look at that. Tampa to Jacksonville, 3 hours, maybe 3 hours, 15 minutes. Oh, gosh, if they'll have me, I'm there. Get the word out. See if we can get Ed Dean on the horn. I'll see if we can get Ed on the line and see if I can show up and crash the big WBOB Christmas party on Friday, December 5th. Incidentally, if you want to support Jacksonville's efforts and WBOB's efforts to get a Turning Point USA chapter going, go to WBOB.com for details. I'm sure folks from all over the country are welcome to participate and to help WBOB's efforts. It's a great, great station. We're so honored to be on their team. WBOB.com, WBOB.com. Claudia in St. Petersburg, Florida. Hey, Claudia, have you gotten hit by any falling iguanas yet?
No, you don't have them up here, but you do down in South Florida.
Oh, we got a bad connection there, Claudia, I think. You there? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Got you now. Sorry about that. You were breaking up. Yeah, it's nice and chilly in St. Pete. I'm glad you could join us today.
Thank you.
So go right ahead.
Yes, I was calling in about your question about whether or not the Democrats hate this country. I don't believe all.
So go right ahead.
Yes, I was calling in about your question about whether or not the Democrats hate this country. I don't believe all of the Democrats hate this country, but I will say my daughter is a Democrat, and so is my son-in-law, and I will say my son-in-law is the only one I've ever been able to talk to about the whole situation of what they believe, but I don't think they pay a lot of these kids in this age group in the 40s, early 40s, late 30s. I don't think they pay attention to really what's going on in politics.
Right.
And so they don't really understand the Democratic Party has turned into this evil party.
Well, that's so interesting to me. So your daughter, so I can tell if I'm reading between the lines, you have almost an easier time talking politics with your son-in-law than you do your daughter.
Oh, I can't even talk to my daughter about it.
Interesting.
I mean, she immunized all the kids with the COVID thing, went off the deep end. But the only news channel she listens to basically is NPR.
Wow. Well, that says it all. Claudia, thank you. And, it's so funny. Greg Gutfeld addressed this yesterday on his show. Jimmy Kimmel's wife was on a podcast saying that she's had to stop communicating with members of her own family because of who they voted for, because they're Trump supporters. And Greg addressed that brilliantly. I want to share some of Greg's really, really, really important points about families breaking apart and people not talking to each other because of the election. You're not going to want to miss this. It's a really good monologue from Greg that I'll share with you coming up
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.